Welcome back to the weekend rotation brought to you by College Baseball Central. As you see, you've got me this weekend. Everybody else had a little bit of issues this morning, so you get all of my thoughts and things on all the games going on. So I'm going to run down all the games for you, the important ones that happened this weekend, and we're going to go through and just answer any questions if you guys have some comments and questions. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on some of these teams heading into tournament time. We will also be doing an SEC Hoover show on Monday night. So you folks can join us on Monday night. We'll be doing that show, getting it all ready for you for that tournament preview. So welcome in. We're going to start off with Arkansas and A&M. So most of these teams, every team that is playing in a tournament next week, they played Thursday through Saturday this weekend so that they could get their games in and be ready for tournament play next week. Arkansas and A&M were no different. So on Thursday night, A&M did the walk-off in extra innings, 1-0. Terrific pitching duel there between Arkansas and A&M. And then last night, Arkansas won 6-3. Big three-run home run was the big difference there for Arkansas. Two terrific ball clubs, two Omaha caliber teams. I don't think anybody's worried about either one of these teams going into tournament play here. A&M has been sliding a little bit here the last few weeks. They've been scuffling. 3 weeks of a little questionable offense. They got to get something rolling. It'd be really nice for them to get something going by uh, against Arkansas today, right? If they can go get it done, gigantic. It'd be huge for them. They really need to get the offense rolling here before the SEC tournament play and before regional hosting. But I believe both these teams host. I believe both these teams should be national hosts. It's going to be really close for A&M now with their scuffles as of late. But I believe both teams are national seeds. Moving on to Wake and NC State. Man, this NC State ball club just continues to impress. You know, they go out there, they take care of business. They beat Wake on Thursday, 14-3, 7 innings, 10 run rule this team. This Wake team that has been hot that everybody's talking about. Oh man, they're getting back into national seed. They're getting back into that conversation. They go to NC State, and NC State says not so fast. And then last night, NC State wins a pitching duel 2-1. I am more and more impressed with this NC State team. They've been playing terrific down the stretch. I don't think there's any way that you can keep them out of being at least a 2 seed at this point. They might be battling their way for a hosting conversation if they can do something in the ACC tournament. Just terrific performance there from NC State and Wake, a team that has been on fire coming into this weekend, has now found themselves on the wrong side of the two ball games against NC State. It'd be terrific if they can go out there and go get a win for Wake, but NC State, I'm just very impressed. Kudos to you guys. Wolfpack's on fire here, going down the stretch and heading into ACC tournament play. They've put themselves quietly into fourth place in the ACC currently. All right, Oregon State. They have put a drumming on Arizona down in Tucson. It's been at High Corbett Field. Crazy. They won the first game 9-2. Only one earned run there for Arizona. The hitting has just eluded them this weekend so far. And then Oregon State wins last night 16-1, beating Clark Candiati, who had been one of the hottest pitchers in the country, and knocking him out in 5 innings. Just terrific offense there from Oregon State. They're starting to get healthy at the right time. They've been one of the hottest teams in May. I say it on the show all the time. You don't have to be the best team in April. You want to be the hottest team in May if you want to make a tournament run. And that's exactly what the Beavers are trying to do right now, right? They're going out there and they're giving their best effort. They have a winner take all today for the Pac-12 tournament regular season. So whoever wins today between Oregon State and Arizona will be crowned your Pac-12 champion for the final time in the Pac-12, and it's going to be a big game there for both squads. I know everybody's going to be watching that. It's on the West Coast here because it could determine a lot about seeding too. Oregon State's still trying to find their way into a national seed conversation. I know a lot of people have had them lower on the seeding, but you're still talking about a top 8 ball club. And when they get going offensively, it's really going to be tough to keep them out of the national seed conversation, especially at Goss. Everybody loves Goss. It's terrific. We know that the travel restrictions are tough sometimes at Goss Stadium because you have to stay a little farther away. There's not as much room in Corvallis. But once you get to the stadium, it's terrific. And everybody that's ever been to that stadium for a regional or super, knows how cool it is to be there. So I'm really rooting for that, one, so that I can go to a regional and a super because it's the closest one to me. Two, just because I believe that there needs to be more West Coast representation this year in the tournament than there has been, and I don't think it's going to come anywhere else out of the Pac-12. So big game there between Oregon State and Arizona today in High Corbett Field down there in Tucson, Arizona, before the Pac-12 tournament next weekend. Georgia Tech really could have used a couple wins this weekend, could have used at least one. They have an opportunity today to go get one, but they lost 3-8 and 3-11 to this Florida State team. Florida State continues to impress. Jamie Arnold continues to impress. This team is just really, really good. The job that Link Jarrett has done cannot be overlooked, cannot be overshadowed. I, I don't know at this point how you don't give him Coach of the Year. When you look at this Florida State team, there was not anybody in the country that had them in the top 25 to start. There was not anybody that thought that they'd be competing for an ACC title, let alone hosting. And what Link Jarrett has done with this Florida State ball club, it has brought them back. College baseball is awesome when Florida State is back. As much as it pains me to see that this Florida State team has grown so fast and gotten so good so fast, it's not surprising after meeting Link Jarrett in Omaha in 2022. Terrific guy. Seems to have his head on straight. Seems like these players just love him. Florida State was always going to be his home. I'm happy that he's there and just overwhelmed by the amount of outpouring success that they have had. Big for Florida State. Let's see if they can keep going here down the stretch. I know that they had some injuries there. They seem to be getting healthy at the right time. Georgia Tech is a bubble tournament team at this point. I think that they got to go get a win today and then possibly do something in the ACC tournament. But a good young Georgia Tech team that we like. South Carolina and Tennessee. Tennessee is right there. I mean, they're trying to put themselves in the conversation to be the number one team heading into tournament play. I think a lot of that's going to come down to SEC play. But South Carolina 3, Tennessee 9 on Thursday, and then South Carolina 3, Tennessee 8, kind of similar results last night. Tennessee continues to play pretty good defense. They continue to hit the ball well. They're getting spot pitching. I like this Tennessee ball club. It's not your typical number one seed that you would think of that goes out there and dominates every game, but they go out there and they compete and they win a lot of these games. Again, Tennessee, hats off to you guys. You guys have just really performed this whole season. And South Carolina, I think that you're on the bubble ish in though, because you have the 13 wins in SEC play, 13 and 16 at this point. Still would like to see you go get one today, get to that 14 win mark. I think 14 is going to be a good number to get in, especially with the four teams later we're going to talk about that all have 12 and 17 records currently in SEC play. But a win today would be massive for South Carolina if they can go figure out a way to beat Tennessee at home and put themselves in a better spot here coming into the SEC tournament in Hoover. North Carolina and Duke, two teams that could be hosting. UNC should definitely host. Duke is on that bubble of hosting right now. They split so far. So UNC lost the first one 3-5, and then they came back and won last night 6-4 at Duke. Both squads are good. Both squads are built pitching, defense, hitting. UNC's had a little bit hotter hitting as of late. Parks Harbor's been one of those guys you just lean on, and it's been terrific. Ozuna, also one of those guys that has just really taken off. Duke has the players as well, so these two teams are terrific, and I think that they both should be hosting. UNC has locked up the ACC regular season title with that win yesterday, though. Congrats to UNC. I don't think a lot of people had them as that place. I think a lot of people were more leaning towards Wake Forest and Duke and Virginia. So big win, big season there for UNC. Looking forward to seeing them more here come tournament play. They're going to have a chance to win the ACC tournament as well, but a big win to win the regular season title there and really put themselves in that national seed conversation as well. A battle for teams that were bubble bound. Ole Miss and LSU. LSU's found a way to win the first two. They won 5-1 and then they won 4-2. It hasn't been the LSU of your grandparents. This team doesn't go out there and they haven't been slugging the ball lately. Pitching and defense has gotten them to the wins, right? Big LSU wins. They're at 12 and 17 now. There has not been a lot of success for SEC teams, only 12 wins in conference. They'd love to go get that 13th today. I believe that if LSU goes and gets a 13th win today, they're going to be in the tournament. As much as people think that they shouldn't be, they have a lot of wins. They've piled up a lot of wins. They've been hot as of late. tournament committee loves teams that are hot as of late. LSU's played them way into there, but I do think that they still need to go get a win today and maybe a win in Hoover, which we'll talk about that on the Monday night show when we do the SEC tournament breakdown. Ole Miss, you got to win today. Got to win today, and then even then, you're still gonna have to win some games in Hoover because you're just on the outside now. I don't believe that you finished there, and I don't believe that this ends up being the magical season that Ole Miss thought it might turn around to be. This team has just offensively been let down by their superstars, and they need to get more out of these games that are important. I know it's never tough to win at the box, but you got to go out there and figure out a way to win if you're Ole Miss, and that right now they're not doing it. So they got to go find a way to win at the box today if they want any opportunity. LSU again, I think that they can clinch a tournament place if they can go out there and win today and get their 13th win. Illinois and Purdue. Illinois at Purdue. I know that a lot of people probably don't know Big Ten play. Illinois has a chance to win the Big Ten regular season title this weekend. If they can go get one more win, they have taken 2 of 3, or the first 2 games against Purdue, 5-4. They came back and won that one, and then 9-4 last night. Massive for Illinois. If they can go out there and get a win today, they win the Big Ten regular season title before heading into tournament play. At this point, the more and more I look at the Big Ten, I feel like it's a one big league. Now, you might argue that if Illinois or Purdue or Michigan or Iowa wins the Big Ten tournament, that you're going to put in Nebraska either way. I'm not sold on that. As much as I love what Nebraska's done and Sears has done on Friday nights for them. It's going to be real close, but I think that they probably do get 2 teams in. It's going to be tight, but it's going to be tight because it's been tough for this team. But I think that if somebody else other than Nebraska wins the Big Ten championship and wins the Big Ten tournament, yes, I agree, Noah, that the Big Ten tournament is about to be nuts. It's going to be a good time. I know you'll be at all those games there all evening long. It's a big one, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that happens. But I do believe that it is a 2-bid league this year if anybody not named Nebraska wins that tournament. Moving on to Virginia or Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Listen, Vanderbilt needed some wins. They're at 12 wins now. They're at 12-17 again, just like LSU, but they've been going the opposite direction. Their stock has been plummeting as of late. They got Kentucky at Kentucky. Kentucky can go and win the SEC regular season title this week. They can go out there and win this whole dang thing. I don't think anybody, even our own AJ Sessions, who was high on this Kentucky team, I don't think he believed that this team could win the SEC regular season title. They're a win away. If they go out and beat Vanderbilt, they're going to go out there and take care of this business. They beat them 5-10 and 7-17. Huge wins for Kentucky. Vandy fans, you might be sitting on the outside of this bracket this year. You may not even get in now. You got to get a win today to get to 13. 13, of course, is the magical number to at least be considered. And then it's about 38% of teams from the SEC that have 13 wins get into the tournament. 12 wins is not a good look. That's about 8% of teams ever gotten into the tournament with 12 wins in SEC play. So, Vandy fans, you know what you got to do. Got to go out there and go get that W today. It is necessary if you want to continue. Virginia Tech and Virginia. Virginia is 1 win away now from being at the 40 win club. They've taken the first 2 games 7-3 and 13-3. They 10 ran last night. This Virginia team has been a kind of a roller coaster. They've been struggling on the road. They've been pretty good at home. They're at home here this weekend, and the stats stay. You want more offensively from this Virginia team, especially if they're on the road. And at this point, it's going to be really tight for them to see if they host or not. They're going to have to do something in the ACC tournament, make a little bit of noise there. But at 40 wins, they're in. They're a lock. They're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed. You like where this Virginia team is heading if they can stay with the offense, but again, some days they don't get the offensive firepower, and then they just can't outduel people with pitching. We like their pitching. It's just not going to outdo a lot of teams, that especially tournament bound. West Virginia and TCU. West Virginia now has 18 conference wins. They really were missing J.J. Weatherford to start this season here. He got hurt. They were missing some time. Now that he's back, this West Virginia team is hot. They did lose the first one. They've split there with TCU, so they lost 6-3, and then they won 7-2. Big wins for West Virginia. If they can go out there and go get another one today and get to 19, I like this West Virginia team a lot. I think that they are a 2 seed, but they have made a big noise for themselves as Oklahoma has already wrapped up the regular season title. And it's big wins for Oklahoma. But if you're looking at teams this weekend that you really want to keep an eye on, the Kansas and Texas game, and then the West Virginia and TCU game today, I think that those are both big games for Big 12 play. TCU needs to get another win to get to 500 in Big 12 play. And I don't even know if that's going to be enough to save this team. I do believe that it puts them into the Big 12 tournament, but they're going to have to win some games here and figure out something because this TCU team has been not great. Not great. For the team that was number one in the country for a week, it's tough to see them sitting here and being below 500 in their own conference play. So they got to go out there and figure out something and get going. And it's got to be this weekend. This is do or die time for TCU. Horned Frog fans, I know that you hate hearing this, but you got to go out there and win a game today. A team that had to win yesterday and did, Florida. They lost the first one to Georgia 9-4, a Georgia team that's been on fire. And then they beat Georgia in extras last night 7-4. Florida's got to go out and find another win because they're another team sitting at 12 wins. They're sitting right there with everybody else in the SEC. There's 4 teams sitting at 12 and 17 today. They have to go out there and find wins. I'm looking forward to seeing what Florida can do. I want to see what the committee thinks of this team. They're number 2 in strength of schedule. And then when you're talking about a team that, is right at 500, they're literally right at 500. Their schedule sets them up to be right at 500. They're going to have to go out and do something when we talk about this team because they're 27 and 26 overall, 12 and 17 in conference. They didn't play great in non-conference. They didn't play great in conference. They're a team that was slated to be a top 5 team all year, and then they've come out and just really not played that way. I look forward to seeing if they can go out there and beat Georgia today. If this Georgia team has been, like I said, a very hot offensive team, and Georgia slowly played their way into being a host team. A few weeks ago, we would have thought, they're a 2 seed somewhere. They're a nice 2 seed. They're going to have fun. They're going to go out there and battle with somebody and be a big offensive firepower on the road. Georgia's a different team at home, so Florida's got to go figure out a way to go get a Sunday win. Jack Keggs on the mound. Of course, it's a Saturday win today. And then do some noise there in tournament play and SEC tournament. Kansas and Texas. Texas has walked off Kansas the last 2 nights. Kansas took the lead in both games there late in the 8th inning. Texas came back and walked them off once 5-4 on Thursday in extras, and then 3-2 last night in the 9th. Tremendous effort from Texas. They're a team that I know our own Jake McKeever has said has a chance to host. I don't think they have a chance to host, but they have played their way into tournament play. They were a bubble team 3 weeks ago. I think that they've put themselves back in that conversation. Now they're sitting second in the Big 12. A win today would secure that second place there for Texas and put them in a better spot. They've played their way into tournament play. I think that they're probably going to be a 2 seed somewhere. I don't think they'd host. But if you're a Texas fan, you got to be happy with the way you've played as of late. Not really Texas style where they're going out and winning games and just crushing it. But it's going to be interesting if we see something going on here. We need more from this Texas ball club moving forward. I cannot wait. They're just going the right direction here, and it's really a great thing. So if you're a Texas fan, big game today. Go out there and beat Kansas. If you're a Kansas fan, where have you been your whole life? Who did something cool this week? So there's a lot we could pick from. I mean, just that last one there, Texas having back-to-back walk-offs in must-win fashion there. Just huge there for Texas. Really impressive to see this team going out there and taking care of business. For me, of course, being a West Coast guy, it's Oregon State taking care of business and going out there to Arizona and at least setting themselves up for a chance to win the Pac-12 title today in regular season. Travis Bazzana continues to break more records. He broke the all-time doubles record for Oregon State, and in the same swing, he also did the total bases record for Oregon State. So seeing that kind of tremendous talent walking through the halls there in Oregon State, it's just great. I think the biggest thing that we're looking forward to, though, this something cool, was that a lot of those 10 and 11 win teams in SEC put themselves in a position to sweep or get to 13 wins this weekend. So that's the most important thing, I think, moving forward. Who needs a win today? Heading into the conference tournament next week. Big question marks. There's a ton of them out there. So when we go and look at all these teams here, you know, like I said, I'm going to mention the four teams from SEC that are sitting at 12 and 17 right now. I'm also going to mention South Carolina at 13 and 16. I think that they could really use a win against Tennessee. Tough ask, I know. Going into Lindsey Nelson and winning on Saturday is not going to be an easy task for them. If South Carolina gets a win and gets to 14, I think that they're locked in no matter what for tournament play. I think they're already there right now just because they have the 13 wins. But I can see the committee saying that they've struggled late and they lost the home series last weekend. They got to really figure out something. Yeah, but I still like South Carolina. I know that we had them in hosting conversations a few weeks ago. But at 13 wins, I'd love to see them get to a 14th. Vanderbilt is 12 and 17. Florida is 12 and 17. LSU is 12 and 17. Alabama is 12 and 17. All these teams have 30 plus wins, but they are sitting at 12 and 17 in conference. Now, I know I told you the stats already. Only 8% of teams that finish with 12 wins in SEC play have ever made the tournament. That's not a good number for these guys. They're all looking at it saying, hey, we know the stats. We know that's a very slim percentage. It could be us. Well, don't make it you. Go out there and go get a win today. LSU needs to win. Alabama needs to win. Florida, if they can get one from Georgia, would be massive. And Vanderbilt, right now, if they can go out there and go get their win against Kentucky, which is, again, a tough ask because if Kentucky wins, they win the SEC regular season title. But I think that those teams need to go get a win to get to 13 and then do something in SEC tournament play. And again, Monday night, we'll be bringing you that live. I'll have a full staff with me there, and we'll be breaking down the entire Hoover tournament. But yeah, we're really excited for that one. And I think that those are the teams that have to win as far as SEC play goes. Now, if I go look over here at the ACC standings, there's teams that could go out there and could use a win today, right? So teams like Wake Forest, we thought, hey, they're going to be back in that national seed host. They're now 15 and 14 in conference, folks. And yes, they have been hot as of late. They need to go out there and go find a win today, I think. I think that would be a huge win for them to go beat NC State. NC State, again, they've played their way right into tournament play. They're 31 and 19, 17-11. Congratulations to NC State. Wake Forest, if you want to host, you got to go win and then do something in the ACC tournament. A big win again would be for Duke and North Carolina are playing. Duke needs to win more than North Carolina does. North Carolina has already locked up the ACC regular season. I would like to see Duke go out and get them. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, both sitting at 14 and 15 in conference. Would love to go get that 15th win and split the season there at 15 and 15, putting themselves better conversation for 3 seeds. I think that both those teams are borderline in right now. I think Georgia Tech further out than Virginia Tech, but if Georgia Tech can go get a win today, that would be a huge help for them moving forward into the rest of this thing. If Illinois wins today, they win the Big Ten regular season title. I would love to see Illinois go out there and go take care of business against this Purdue ball club. Nebraska wins, that they're going to be right there as well. I do think Illinois deserves the conference title the way that they've played as of late. Indiana's already done with their season as they are 15 and 9 now, and they're sitting there waiting to find out what happens. I believe that they're going to have to get a bid in by winning that conference tournament. So when I look over at the Big 12, you look at some teams that could use some wins here. Texas now is 19 and 10. They'd love to get up there to 20 wins in conference and get that win and sweep the Kansas Jayhawks. TCU would love to get to 500. If somehow that they can see a Kansas State and Kansas loss, they would be tied with those teams there and get their way into the Big 12 tournament. They have to be in the top 8, and right now they are sitting at 8. They don't want to lose. They don't want UCF to catch them up. And Texas Tech has already finished their season as far as Big 12 play is considered, and now they are losers of 8 straight. So I believe Texas Tech is out. But yeah, if you're looking at other teams that could really use a win today, West Virginia would also put themselves at 19 wins, and they might even catch up all the way up with Oklahoma State. So big wins there, big teams there. I think that the Big 12 has played really well as of late, and it's going to get more teams in than people believed. I think Cincinnati is even a bubble team. that might get in, which would be unheard of in their first year in the Big 12, who set themselves up nicely, who's ready to go. I mean, I keep talking about it, but Illinois. I mean, Illinois has put themselves in the position to win the regular season title and be in that conversation. And congrats to them. They've really taken care of business down the stretch and beaten a good Purdue team that was up there at the top of the conference as well. Oregon State has taken care of business and done what they've need to do. They would love to go get another win today to be in that national seed conversation. I think if Oregon State goes out there and takes care of business at Arizona and figures out a way to get a win today, just massive. If you're a Beaver fan and if you're a fan of the West Coast at all, you'd love to see some more national seeding out here. But it's a big game today, Saturday. I will be in Eugene for the Ducks to take on Washington State today. I think that the Ducks could really use another win today. I think that would be huge for their season if they can go out there and get a win. If they win and Arizona loses to Oregon State, the Ducks would actually be the 2 seed in Pac-12, which would be a really big step up for them versus being the 3 seed that they are right now. I think if you are a Duck fan, you got to go out to the ballpark there today. They're giving away some cool stuff, but I think it's a big game for the Ducks there today. Again, another team who set themselves up nicely. Kentucky. I mean, they go out and they just beat whoever's in front of them. And this weekend it happens to be Vanderbilt. Tough for Vanderbilt, a team that's looking for their 13th win and can't seem to find it against this very good Kentucky team. Kentucky can go out and win the regular season SEC title, and there'd be really hard conversation not to say that they're a national seed at this point. If they can go beat Vandy today, it's a lock. They're a national seed no matter what happens there. So I love what's going on with the Kentucky team. Very impressed by them. So hopefully they can keep out there and just keep moving. Another team who set themselves up nicely, Texas. Texas taking care of business, going out there and go getting that win. I think that was huge for them to be able to go out there and take care of business against a very good Kansas team, and having to do the 2 walk-offs was big. But they put themselves right back in that conversation. And now if they can go out there and win a Big 12 title, maybe win the Big 12 tournament play, man, that's going to be a tough conversation to see if they're hosting versus Oklahoma. But I think Oklahoma has played themselves into being that host conversation. All right, like I said, join us on Monday night. We're going to have the full crew. We're going to be breaking down SEC Hoover. I'm going to be bringing in some other people as well. We're going to talk about all the things going on with SEC baseball and getting that stuff ready. I know Monty is going to be doing the Monday night ACC show, getting ready for ACC tournament play. So we got lots of stuff going on. I know Tuesday I will be doing the Pac-12 breakdown and getting ready for Pac-12 tournament and anything else on the West Coast. So thanks for joining me again, folks. I know it's a little different show here with just me breaking down the scores for you. Hopefully you're ready and getting ready for conference tournament weekend next weekend. We're getting down the stretch here. This has been the Weekend Rotation. I'm Mark Garland. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you all next week.